Jordan Lennox-Lamb is on pole position, and Max Verstappen joins him on the front row. Charles Leclerc and Jonathan Thonon, row 2. Anthony Abbas and Marco Ardigo, row 3. The starting marshal moves away. And we race it. Oh, and Jordan Lennox-Lamb has missed the start by a big margin. The poleman missed the start by a big margin. And Max Verstappen has jumped into the lead from the off-pole position. And he's followed round by Jonathan Thonon. Well, Jordan Lennox-Lamb, I think that was a gear situation. Maybe a clutch had slipped, whatever. But certainly Jordan Lennox-Lamb fluffed the start on that one from pole. And the guy coming into the round as the championship leader, Max Verstappen, presented with a fairly easy opportunity to take the lead from the outside of the front row. Jonathan Thonon putting in the home challenge for the Belgians. Going nicely at the moment. Jordan Lennox-Lamb third, Charles Leclerc in fourth place. Those four clear of the rest as we complete the first lap. Max Verstappen, Jonathan Thonon, Jordan Lennox-Lamb and Charles Leclerc. Really big gap then. We come to Anthony Abbas, who's just gone past Verdi Gertz. Marco Ardigo behind those in 7th place. Well, Max Verstappen just settling into a rhythm now, but he hasn't shaken off anybody. We see some really big leads at some stages. We didn't see Yannick de Brabander nor Ben Hanley come round. So the third of the Belgians, Yannick de Brabander, and the second of the Brits, Ben Hanley, having a very, very early finish to this final. Max Verstappen pursued by Jonathan Thonon. Jordan Lennox-Lamb repairing the damage of that slow start. They pulled away a little bit from Charles Leclerc. And Jonathan Thonon putting the pressure on Max Verstappen, no question. Lennox-Lamb also well in touch. Just that tiny little gap between the front three. Our television pictures show clearly the front running three. In shot is Verstappen 1, Thonon 2, Lennox-Lamb 3. Then that gap to KART 34, Charles Leclerc on screen now. And the first hint of a little bit of a gap between Max Verstappen and Jonathan Thonon. It's only a minor gap, but it's discernible as a gap. This is towards the end of lap 3. And Jordan Lennox-Lamb goes past Jonathan Thonon. Jordan Lennox-Lamb going past Jonathan Thonon. Just making an acknowledgement with his hand. And of course that passing move has given an opportunity for Max Verstappen to get a little bit further away. Max Verstappen leading. Jordan Lennox-Lamb second. Jonathan Thonon third. And Charles Leclerc, who was a bit detached in 4th place, is now pretty much in tune with KART 34. You see on your screen there the lighter colours of the racing suit. Well, he is in touch, isn't he, in 4th position, because he's actually putting some pressure on Jonathan Thonon. Max Verstappen looking fairly comfortable in the lead, but there is Charles Leclerc in 4th place in our shot, trying to put pressure on Jonathan Thonon. Max Verstappen just building that little bit more, isn't he? The pictures on your screen telling you the story. There are at least 4 KART lengths between the CRG TM of Max Verstappen and the CRG Perilla E-Army from Jordan Lennox-Lamb. Jordan Lennox-Lamb probably kicking himself for that poor start. Jonathan Thonon just shaking off the close challenge of Charles Leclerc. And Jonathan Thonon now getting a little bit closer to Jordan Lennox-Lamb. But at this early stage, it's looking good in the hands of the championship leader Max Verstappen. He hasn't had it easy in this event because in his second race got himself in a collision, went out of the race. He's got about an 8 KART length lead at the moment. Our picture's showing you that really quite clearly. Jonathan Thonon in third place, beginning to put some pressure on Jordan Lennox-Lamb. So for the British driver, it's not a case of pursuing this man, Max Verstappen. It's also a case of closing the door on Jonathan Thonon. Jonathan Thonon putting a little bit of distance between himself, putting a fair little bit of distance between Charles Leclerc and Anthony Abbas. I think that these front-running four have got even further away. Abbas is fifth, De Conto sixth, Ardigo dropping to seventh, Camponeschi eighth, Drazen the Belgian ninth, and Chiazetti running in 10th place. Great drive by Jorrit Pex. Jorrit Pex from 22nd to 11th. We're only on lap 6. And Jorrit Pex has gone from 22nd to 11th. We've lost Yannick de Brabander, we've lost Ben Hanley, and we've lost Verdi Gertz. Well, Max Verstappen in shot in kart 24. Nice little action shot there. Look how still he is in the cockpit. No extravagant moves. Jonathan Thonon, by comparison, in kart 7, very extravagant in his urging of that machine forward. Jonathan Thonon on a CRG Maxter. So the front three are all CRG chassis, but 3 different engines. Max Verstappen powered by a TM, Jordan Lennox-Lamb by a Parilla Iami, and Jonathan Thonon by the Maxter. Charles Leclerc in 4th place is on the ART GP chassis. He's also powered by a TM. All of these drivers on Bridgestone tyres. The class runs on Bridgestone tyres. Max Verstappen getting this comfortable lead established. Looking round it on lap number 8. This is lap 8 of a 23-lap race, so we're at the 1/3 race distance. Max Verstappen's lead now is something like 15 lengths. Jordan Lennox-Lamb, the second man in the picture. Our television picture's capturing that nicely to illustrate just the difference between these guys. The margin on the screen was 0.99 of a second. Personally, to the naked eye, I would have thought Max Verstappen had a bigger margin than that. Jonathan Thonon continues third, Charles Leclerc fourth, Anthony Abbas fifth, Paolo De Conto 6, Marco Ardigo 7, Flavio Camponeschi 8, Rick Drazen 9, and Jorrit Pex has now driven into the top 10. Just outside the top 10, David Foray has gone up from 12th to 11th. Big disappointment for Bas Lammers, the defending champion, down in 19th place. Verstappen's lead is now 1.16 of a second. Jordan Lennox-Lamb in second place, coming under pressure from the Belgian Jonathan Thonon. Jonathan Thonon in third place is only about 1.5 kart lengths behind Jordan Lennox-Lamb. They're on, or coming off the end of the three-way straight here at Karting Genk. Max Verstappen's lead looks to be being consolidated at the least, and to my naked eye, increased. Jordan Lennox-Lamb, who did get closer after having had that poor start, went past Jonathan Thonon and got a little bit closer to Max Verstappen, but it looks as if second best is round about the limit of the aspirations of Jordan Lennox-Lamb as we approach the half race distance. This is lap 11 of a 23-lap race. Max Verstappen, who got himself in difficulty here by having contact on the, well, between the first and second turns in his second race, but he's not going to get into any clutter now because there's nobody behind him for about 20 kart lengths, and there's nobody in front of him for about 1,000 meters. So it looks easy. It's a matter of concentration still though, a matter of handling, and of course a matter of reliability. But with the massive talent of Max Verstappen, the body language is one of very considerable ease. Always looks a comfortable driver. Our television pictures capturing that. Behind him, Jordan Lennox-Lamb in second place, being pursued by Jonathan Thonon. Not a big margin between those two, something like a couple of kart lengths. I just glanced at my screen, 0.27 of a second at the end of the previous lap. That's my timing screen I'm peeping at. But we're looking at Max Verstappen in kart 24. The young Dutchman driving the CRG TM on the Bridgestone tyres. Kart 32 just going through your screen there was the reigning world champion Flavio Camponeschi. He's a world champion, of course, in the KF1 class, or KF, in 8th place. And Paolo De Conto has gone past Anthony Abbas. Paolo De Conto goes up to 5th place. Anthony Abbas dropping a place to 6th. Paolo De Conto, the best of the Italian drivers, just in front of Marco Ardigo and Flavio Camponeschi. We're on lap 13, so we're into the second half of the race. Jordan Lennox-Lamb, who did appear to me, seeing Max Verstappen in shot, here's Jordan Lennox-Lamb, did appear to me to be going back a little bit towards the clutches of Jonathan Thonon. I think he's put a bit of a margin there. Again, I'll just peep at the screen. Yes, he's increased the margin to 0.34 of a second according to my timing screen. 31 there just rolling through, which you saw was Jordan Lennox-Lamb at the foot of the screen. He's 1.6 seconds adrift of this man, Max Verstappen, the race leader. Well, Thonon looking as if he's getting a little closer, doesn't he, to Jordan Lennox-Lamb. On the track, it's about, well, it is at least 4 kart lengths. Don't think that Thonon is in a position to make any real sort of challenge. Don't know what the mindset of Jordan Lennox-Lamb is. One imagines it's one of resignation to the fact that Max Verstappen has got speed that he hasn't. The best lap by Max Verstappen is 51.59. Jordan Lennox-Lamb's best is 51.70. Jonathan Thonon's fastest is 51.62. And Thonon goes past. Lennox-Lamb is going out. Lennox-Lamb has ground to a halt. And let's just have a look if we get any clue there. The power's just gone, hasn't it? He gets his hand up to say, guys, the power is off. And Jordan Lennox-Lamb, the moment of disaster for him, is captured on screen by his hand going up. This is on lap 14. And at the 2/3 race distance just about, Jordan Lennox-Lamb in a comfortable second place. You can see at the top of the screen, Jordan Lennox-Lamb just not got the power, grinds in effect to a halt, drives off the tarmac and onto the grass. And of the 2 British drivers in the race at the start, Ben Hanley went out on the opening lap, and at the 2/3 race distance, Jordan Lennox-Lamb has gone out. So no British representation, but there's Dutch representation, there's Belgian representation, and there's Monegasque representation. Max Verstappen leads by an even bigger margin now. Jonathan Thonon is elevated to 2nd, Charles Leclerc 3rd, then a big gap behind Charles Leclerc before we see kart number 2, Paolo De Conto, first of the Italians, Anthony Abbas 5th, Marco Ardigo 6th, Flavio Camponeschi 7th, Yorick Pex 8th from 22nd, David Foré 9th. David Foré started 11th, is now 9th. Rick Drazen, the second of the Belgians, in 10th place. Outside the top 10, well, Gad Sorelli is running 19th, and he's the last of the 25 starters to still be running. We've lost Jordan Lennox-Lamb, Henry Coco, Bas Lammers, the defending champion, Verdi Geurts, Belgian driver Yannick de Brabander, and British driver Ben Hanley. We certainly haven't lost this man in shot. That's Max Verstappen. He's looking right now as he starts lap 17. Lap 17 of 23. Well, I'm not going to put any of the commentators' cursed remarks in. Far from it. But who would you rather be in this race at this time other than kart number 24? Jonathan Thonon in shot. Nice shot there of Charles Leclerc, the Monaco teenager. Max Verstappen, the Dutch teenager, the guy in shot at the moment. The crowd on the tribune in front of the restaurant getting a great view here at KART in Genk. Max Verstappen's lead, 2.25 seconds. This is lap 18. This is the start of lap 18 of a 23-lap KZ final. Max Verstappen led this competition coming into the event because he won at Wackersdorf. Coming in at Wackersdorf with a lead of 25 points over Bas Lammers' 20 points. We did think that Bas Lammers might have put on a strong challenge to Max Verstappen, but that's evaporated sadly. Third place coming into the championship was held by Marco Ardigo. He at the moment is running in 6th place. That could be a sufficient score to get him onto the championship podium. But that's not really the consideration at the moment. The consideration is this race to be concluded. 5 laps to go. Marco Ardigo goes up into 5th place. Marco Ardigo into 5th place. Well, this is lap 19. 5 laps remaining. Max Verstappen's lead to the naked eye is something like about 40 metres. No, it's more. It's 60 metres, 70 metres. The time on screen, it was 2.25 seconds. It's come down a fraction to 2.186. But the reality is that this is not a particularly close race now. Jonathan Thonon in 2nd place, having a little bit of a dice with Charles Leclerc at one stage. Charles Leclerc is the driver in shot momentarily. There's Max Verstappen, there's Jonathan Thonon, here's Charles Leclerc. But there's a second between Charles Leclerc in shot and the driver in front of him, Jonathan Thonon. Now there on the home straight. Our television shot told you pretty much the gap between 1, 2 and 3. 1 being Max Verstappen, 2 being Jonathan Thonon, 3 being Charles Leclerc. Paolo De Conto still running 4th, Marco Ardigo 5th, Anthony Abbas 6th, Flavio Camponeschi 7, Yorick Pex 8, David Foré 9, and Rick Drazen completing the top 10. There was no passing moves in the top 15 places on that lap, but going up to 16th place, Dylan Davis went past fellow Dutchman Arjen Kivitsbosch. Otherwise, no passing moves on that lap. Well, it's a little bit of a case of what might have been if we'd still got Bas Lammers in the race on song, if we'd still got Jordan Lennox-Lamb in the race, having made a good start from pole position. Might it have been a little bit different? Well, you can't help feeling that the real situation is that Max Verstappen was here to win this championship. Winning the race would give him the championship without dropping a point, because the scoring system in this championship is just on the finals, and the guy just going off the bottom of your screen, Max Verstappen in front of Jonathan Thonon and Charles Leclerc. Here is kart number 2, Paolo De Conto. Kart number 23, Marco Ardigo. Kart 26, Anthony Abbas. But the guy in shot now on screen, you just cannot help feeling that this was a destiny for him, because there were, well, 1 or 2 issues previously with a European Championship, and there was a certain determined resignation in his body language at Wackersdorf. So we complete another lap. This is lap 22 of 23. The penultimate lap. Max Verstappen, just an exhibition drive now, although this is where you might fear if there was to be a real disaster. Remember in rallying when Carlos Sainz lost a world championship 100 metres from the finishing line? It can happen, but you just sense, as I was saying seconds ago, that it was Max Verstappen's destiny to take this title. His father Jos was on track at the end of racing yesterday in a twin-seater kart, a 144cc TM powered twin-seater, and I think my Italian-speaking colleague Yannick of T-Kart magazine was the lucky passenger. I would have liked it to have been the English-speaking commentator, but hey, there you are, it didn't happen. Max Verstappen, Jonathan Thonon, Charles Leclerc, they were the guys going through in shot. That was Paolo Conto. We're now looking once again at Max Verstappen. The last lap board has been shown. Kart number 24, Max Verstappen just needs to keep it on the tarmac. Of course, he's not had the situation that some of our race leaders had yesterday in the heats in the wet when back markers were playing a part. It's clear tarmac in front of the Dutchman. So very little of this race remaining. A right-handed sweep for Max Verstappen. He gets himself onto the home straight. There's the checkered flag, and Max Verstappen wins the race. Max Verstappen wins the championship. Jonathan Thonon comes home second. Charles Leclerc comes home third. Paolo Di Conto fourth. Marco Ardigo fifth. Anthony Abbas sixth. Yorick Peck seventh. David Boré eighth. Rick Drazen ninth. And Roberto Toninelli in 10th place.